Welcome to my channel Rainier Books. My name is Rainer and I live in the Kingdom of Sweden. Yesterday we got the long-awaited long list for the International Booker in Translation. All of the authors who are nominated for the International Booker Prize in 2025 are long-listed for the very first time. And of course we have the Baker Booker dozen of 13 titles. And I have 2 points out of 13 possible from my prediction list, and that, my dear friends, is quite a success. As usual with long lists on my channel, I speak primarily about the books that spark my interest and short about the other ones. I come to 4 I would want to read, and 3 I might try, and 6 that I can live without. Getting access to all these books seems somehow difficult. The library has only 2 of them, but since they also watch long lists at the library, I guess that they will buy some more from the list in the coming weeks. Most interesting to me was Reservoir Bitches by Dalia de la Cerda, which is a collection of short stories, of linked short stories from Mexico, from the all-powerful daughter of a cartel boss to the victim of trans femicide, from a house full of spinster seamstresses to a socialite who supports her politician husband by faking indigenous roots. These different stories about different women in Mexico spit on their own reduction and invent new ways to survive, telling their stories in bold and unapologetic voices. Super interesting. Under the Eye of the Blackbird was my prediction, and I'm glad that Hiroki Kawakami made it on the long list. She's a very famous author, has never been nominated for the Booker yet. Humans are on the verge of extinction in her new book in the future, and maybe Japanese people quicker than others, since this is the fastest aging population that we're talking about, which makes CJs like this a topic which is often discussed in modern Japanese literature, the future of the species. Humans are endangered, and now they are made in factories from cells of rabbits and dolphins. The survival of the race depends on the interbreeding of these and other alien beings, but is it far from certain that connection, love, reproduction, and evolution will persist among the inhabitants of this faltering new world? I predicted 2 translations from the Japanese on the long list in my prediction video, which I will link down below. Well, I was right, but the second title comes from Sao Ichikawa, the first disabled author ever to win Japan's most prestigious literary award, the Akutagawa. Hunchback, translated by Polly Barton, has been a huge success and a bestseller in Japan. The protagonist is a woman in a wheelchair on a ventilator who posts outrageous stories on an erotica website. 43 years after it was published in Dutch, Astrid Römer's novel On a Woman's Madness is longlisted for the International Booker Prize. That could be a record. Please tell me in the comments down below if you know that. Authors must be alive to get nominated, and Astrid, she was 34 years old when her novel was published for the first time, and now she's 77. She must be super happy for this late recognition from the English world. Her book is a classic queer novel about a woman who flees her abusive husband in Suriname, a former Dutch colony in South America, and moves to Paramaribo, the capital, to explore a new life haunted by her past. I would like to read that book, but the library here says, no, we don't have it. Interesting also is A Leopard Skinhead by Anne Serre, French author who has already published 70 novels, translated this one from French by Mark Hutchinson. It sounds really interesting. A friendship between 2 women is at the center of the book, one of them with strong mental health issues. A story between hope and despair, as so often when you deal with mental illness, with progress and backlashes. But then the sentence playfully calling into question the very form of the novel is in the description, and that sounds so bookerish, but I start having doubts because I am more the classical novel kind of guy. If I can get it, I would give it a try, but not be surprised if I DNF it. The Book of Disappearances by Ibtissam Azem was my second point, my second correct prediction on that list, published by a very interesting publisher called And Other Stories. What if all the Palestinians in Israel simply disappeared one day? What would happen next? Well, how would Israelis react? These unsettling questions are posed in Ibtissam Azem's powerfully and imaginative novel. That sounds interesting and very timely now that the United States and Israel want to deport all Palestinians in Gaza and make them disappear to make Gaza to a Riviera of the Middle East. Banu Mushtaq is a lawyer from southern India. She is longlisted for her collection of stories, Heart Lamp. That's the second short story collection on the long list. Stories from 1990 and 2023 that were written in a language called Kannada that not so many people know in Europe and translated into English by Deepa Basti. Her stories exquisitely capture the everyday lives of women and girls in Muslim communities in southern India. Small Boat by Vincent Delacroix is a book about the horrible tragedy of 27 migrants who died on an inflatable dinghy on their way from France to the UK with few survivors. A French woman is accused of failing in her duty since she told the migrants to call British authorities, although France still would have been responsible for the safety and for the life on the boat. A moral tale of our times. There's a Monster Behind the Door by Gaël Bellem is the third French title. This one is not from France. It is from the island Réunion. Monsters lurk beneath the surface of vibrant island life, ready to pounce at the slightest disturbance. This sounds like a supernatural novel, which is non merci for me. Christian Kracht, my countryman, is a very well-known author in Germany. His novel Eurotrash is on the long list, the road trip of a mother and a son through Switzerland digging into the past. It is said to be bitterly funny, but probably for others, not so much for me. After last year's Booker win by a German author, you remember Jenny Alpenbeck, for a novel Kairos, it is pretty unlikely that Kracht will lift the trophy in June. Perfection by Vincenzo Latronico is translated from the Italian by Sophie Hughes, and here we watch the life of a young couple in Berlin, Germany, who live the new modern life as digital nomads. Graphic designers about the emptiness of contemporary existence. Is the emptiness of contemporary existence interesting and exciting? On the collection of Volume 1 by Solveig Belle, translated from the Danish by Barbara Haveland. A woman wakes up every morning to the 18th of November, caught in a loop. Then after 365 times November 18, she might see a way to escape. Translated into 20 languages, this is the first novel in a septology, Nee Tek, which means no thanks. Solenoid by Mircea Cartarescu, translated from the Romanian by Karen Fleetwood, is the winner of last year's Dublin Literary Award. A bizarre existential account of history, philosophy and mathematics. Certainly highly intellectual, but really not my piece of cake. These are the 13 titles on the long list. People always look for common trends or themes in that collection, but according to my opinion, a jury should always strive for diversity and not for similarities. Is that list diverse? We have 8 women and we have 5 men. We have 3 translations from the French language, 2 from Japanese, and 1 each from Spanish, Dutch, German, Danish, Italian, and Romanian. 1 book was translated from Arabic and 1 from Kannada, one of hundreds of languages spoken in India. That makes 9 out of the 13 books translated from European languages. Which books will make the shortlist? Have you read any of these, and what would you recommend? I have ordered Under the Eye of the Blackbird from the Stockholm City Library here. They have it already, but it will take some weeks since there were others quicker than I was. Now I will keep on reading The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. That's my current read, nominated for an Edgar Award this year. And I will look at the long list of the PEN/Faulkner Award that was presented a few weeks ago with 10 books, where we will meet a couple of great books that were nominated even for other awards here and there on the other side, on the different sides of the Atlantic. See y'all soon and happy reading. Bye-bye.